Stay tuned to find out why Adobe Stock is one of, if not my favorite microstock agencies to work with. Just to give you an intro, since I have been submitting images to them over the course of many years, okay, I have had my images downloaded over 8,900 times, and I have made over $7,100 with just this one agency. Hi, it's Erin. Welcome to my channel. Let's jump right into this. I am going to be discussing my experience with Adobe Stock today, and it's actually it's my highest performing microstock agency that I work with, and I really like a lot of the incentives and the things that they do for their contributors. Of course, other people are going to disagree with me. There's people out there that have problems with every stock agency for one reason or another. And, admittedly, there's not one that's perfect. But I think as far as ones that actually do things and try to do the right thing for their contributors, I think that Adobe Stock is definitely one of them. So a little bit of a history. I have been working with not Adobe Stock, but the actual company. I've had my portfolio on Fotolia, which became Adobe Stock, since 2007. So since the very, very beginning of my experience with submitting stock assets. Okay. And going back to that time, I was submitting, creative images. I started to fool around a little bit with like creating illustrations in Photoshop and that sort of thing. And then I was with them when when the company was acquired by Adobe and became Adobe Stock. So I found an article to give you a little bit of a history here on the details of this, because I found this interesting. Let me just share my screen. This happened at the end of 2014, okay? And you can see the article on Yahoo Finance says Adobe to acquire Fotolia for $800 million. $800 million. I mean, to just see that, like, could you imagine buying something for $800 million? I mean, I would be happy with $1 million, but whatever. Anyway, so this article talks about how Fotolia was acquired by Adobe, and how it would be integrated into their like creative cloud and their different like programs and all of that, which is exactly what's going on. So that in and of itself, the fact that it's integrated with Adobe's other programs and their software, or whatever you want to call it, I think that that's a huge benefit, because you immediately have an audience, in my opinion, that you might not otherwise have, right? So your stuff is automatically going to be out there to the people that are using these programs. It's going to be available to them. So that's a pretty good thing that I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that that's the situation with other stock agencies. So I'm going to go over and share my screen to give you a little bit more detail as far as different things that they offer to their contributors. Okay, so here you have my main page at Adobe Stock. You can see these images that are coming up on the main contributor page right here are sorted by downloads. So the first ones will be my most downloaded images. And that goes all the way down to my least downloaded or never downloaded images if you go through it for long enough. Now, to give you an idea, I had mentioned that this is my my highest performing microstock agency that I work with. But interestingly enough, it's also one of my smaller portfolios. In fact, I think that now my smallest one is 123RF, but that's only because I really don't contribute there anymore, because they kind of stopped like approving images. I'm not really sure what's going on over there. But to have this as one of my smallest portfolios, and I mean by like a couple thousand images compared to like my largest, which I think is on Dreams Time, it's pretty interesting that it performs the best, even though it's the smallest. Do you know what I'm saying? So that right there is a good sign. Now, Adobe used to, back when they were Fotolia and in the early days of them being Adobe Stock, would only accept creative or commercial images, okay? Editorial images were not allowed. So that automatically, depending on if you were a contributor that was submitting both commercial and editorial work to your agencies, that in and of itself made your portfolio with them smaller. And I think that that's a big reason why. Um, Also, once they did start allowing editorial submissions, they still to this day do not allow editorial submissions in like the traditional sense, like newsworthy type stuff that like Getty and iStock will accept, or even Dreamstime will accept in your other agencies. So illustrative editorial, meaning like, okay, so like let's say that I take a photo of this Starbucks gift card. Okay. That photo would be considered illustrative editorial. They don't allow recognizable people in their editorial. So if you were at like a parade shooting like traditional, like newsworthy editorial images, they would not accept that. I've had images accepted where you don't recognize the people if it's an image that they want, things like that. I have images of like, cruise ships where you can actually see like the cruise line. They accept stuff like that. They would accept like I said, the photo of the Starbucks gift card or the Starbucks coffee cup, with the scenery behind it or on your kitchen counter or whatever, but not in the traditional newsworthy editorial sense. Okay. So there again, that will make your portfolio on Adobe Stock smaller than your other agencies, depending on what you shoot and submit. So even with that said, you can see that this year alone, I have already had 996 downloads and have made $776 on this one microstock site alone. I have heard people say that they are, some of their stuff is slowing down what they sell. I still feel like I'm doing rather well on Adobe Stock, and I have started to also submit AI images. They are one of the only microstock agencies. I think it's them, Dreamstime, 123 RF, but good luck getting stuff approved through them, like I said before. But they are the only three that I know, like actual microstock agencies that allow the submission of AI content. And with Adobe Stock, they also allow AI content that is of human faces. Whereas in Dreamstime, they allow AI content, but they don't want ones of like faces and whatnot. Okay. They don't want there to be any like issue with the fact that it's an actual real person, even though it's AI. Okay. These AI, in my limited knowledge of AI, they are training and building their database on real photos. So you could get a picture in there that looks like someone and it's not. It's just AI. So Adobe allows that. Dreamstime stays away from it. But that does give you a lot more options for submitting AI if you choose to do that through Adobe. So that is another cool thing. Let me just go in here to my uploaded files and just to give you an idea. Okay, you can see that this is just some that I've made recently that I'm getting ready to submit. Okay, these look like, they look freaky. They're meant to look that way. They're designed that way, but we're talking things that like look like real people. This would not be allowed at Dreamstime. And then of course you have like these cartoony looking images. Dreamstime allows stuff like that. So with that in mind, your AI can go a little bit further on Adobe. That's a great thing if you want to do AI. And if you're, I know that it's controversial still. I tend to go with the mindset that, hey, I don't want to lose out on this. So I better learn how to do this, because if this is the way that the future is going, I want to be able to make some money off of that. So that's why I chose to learn how to do it. It's not hard to do. It's just, typing in prompts and describing things and whatnot to produce these images. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that because there's probably, I'm just speculating here, that there's a huge backlog in these agencies that are now allowing AI images. So when you're submitting things like your traditional commercial images, it takes a lot longer to get them approved. Editorial stuff getting approved fairly quickly. I just, after several months, had all of my, almost all, with the exception of one video, everything, my in review queue was finally like clear, just one image in it after having hundreds in there for a really long time. So I had a lot of commercial work just recently approved, like within the last couple of days. AI stuff will tend to be approved quicker than that. Okay. And you can imagine that the backlog has to be extreme, like I said. So that might be another reason to get involved with that. It is what it is. I understand that these agencies only have so many people working, for them to to review this content and whatnot. That's what you deal with if you choose to submit to stock and work in this industry, unfortunately. But let's talk about some more pros, because I definitely think that the pros outweigh any of the little cons with Adobe Stock. You can do your commercial work, obviously, in Adobe Stock. You can do your illustrative editorial. By the way, just going down here to some of my top images, you're seeing Barbie in here because that is considered illustrative editorial. Okay. Obviously, you cannot sell Barbie commercially, but you can sell her as illustrative editorial. And Barbie helps me out a lot in the world of microstock. Okay. Don't go stealing my ideas. I know not everybody has Barbie dolls in their house, so it is what it is. Another one, picture of groceries in my pantry. This was very popular and still is popular now for people that are trying to stock up on their food. And of course, during COVID, it was extremely popular because people were trying to stock their pantries because it was hard to find certain things. Okay, this photo is all the name brand items that are in my pantry, and it does very, very well. So some other incentives that they offer, which I think are really cool. So you have your regular income from Adobe through selling the licenses for your photos. Then they do some other stuff too, okay? They do a Firefly contributor bonus, which is essentially like their AI payments. Now, if you can see my screen here, I only made $1 when they released that payment a week or so ago. And the reason for that is because they base this payment on a specific time frame and of how many images and assets and whatnot you submitted during that time frame. So of course, between the time in 2023 and 2024 that they based this payment off of, I didn't submit anything. So quite frankly, I don't even know how I got $1. I guess that was like the minimum payment that they just gave to people. Maybe everyone got $1 no matter what. I don't know. But I have read in some of the forums that I'm in that there were people that got a lot more. Like we're talking like $700. Like I'm sure there were people that got even more than that. And basically it's my understanding that that's kind of like their benefit that they give to their contributors for using their images to train like these AI models and whatnot. Okay. I'm not an expert in this. So if that made no sense, I apologize, but you're basically getting a kickback from them because your images are being used to create all this stuff in AI. Now, that being said, prior to this year, because it reflected time when I was submitting, I did receive more money for this. So they've been doing this for, I want to say, these bonuses for at least 2 years. And to be fair, there are other agencies that also give you bonuses. Shutterstock gives you some sort of an AI bonus, I believe. These are miscellaneous payments that I've seen pop up. But so this is one bonus program that they offer for their contributors. Another one that they offer, and this is something that is also controversial. Okay, they offer basically, Adobe Stock has a free program where people can download certain images for free, and it kind of like entices them and brings them into the paid portfolios and whatnot. So hopefully they'll see something else that they like and they'll license the ones that they need to pay for instead of just the, free download type stuff. So basically, Adobe will go through at a certain time of the year. They will look at your images and they'll pick ones that I guess they think will do well in their free collection. And then they leave it up to you. You can choose to nominate those images to actually be in this free program, or you can decline. Now, for me, they picked up, they suggested 10 images. Okay. Oh, and by the way, let me just tell you what the incentive, did I just make a new word? The incentive that they offer is, I believe it's up to $5 per image. Okay. So I don't know, like, if the images that I actually selected to participate will get the full $5. If they do, and they choose to accept the 10 that I approved for them to use, I will get an extra $50. Now, the images will be in their free program for a year if they do choose to use them. And so you get $5 per image. So if I get all of them approved, it'll be an extra, like I said, $50 for me. So what I did was I looked at the images that they suggested. I went into microstocker, which is how I track all of my earnings and whatnot over time across all of my agencies. And I looked, okay, what is the likelihood that I will make more than $5 this year on this particular image? Or have I made more than $5 on this image in past years? And in general, the answer was no. So for instance, there was like one image in overlay, and I had made like, I don't know, $5 over the course of like 4 years. So I was like, okay, well, then that makes sense. Let them use it in their free program. I'm going to get I'm automatically going to get $5 no matter what, hopefully, if I get the full $5. And, it's better than just leaving it out there and maybe making $2 off of it this year or nothing. Who knows? So you are taking a gamble. You could be putting an image out there that might be the next hottest thing for whatever reason. But the ones that they recommended and that I approved or nominated to be in this program, I don't think that I would have made more than what they're giving me to be put into their free program, if that makes sense. So that is another program that they offer besides the AI bonus. Now, the AI bonus, I don't believe that that's optional, like the free program. If you have images on Adobe Stock, they're going to be used to train their AI program. I do not believe that there's a way to opt out of that. I know that some people would like there to be. For me, my bottom line is I'm trying to make money off of this. I'm not trying to create these fine art pieces that'll go down in history. Okay. So if they're going to use them to train their AI system and I'm going to get a kickback for that, yay, give it to me, right? My absolute favorite incentive program that Adobe offers, and to me at this point, I think that this is probably the one that I have benefited from the most, is their contributor bonus program, where they actually give you a free year of one of their creative software products. So for instance, it's not very hard to qualify for this. You need to submit a certain number of assets during the period of time. It's not a lot. And I think you need to have a certain amount downloaded. I didn't meet the requirements in this last period because, like I said, I hadn't submitted in like several years. Okay. So I missed out on that. But in all the years that I was in it, I was getting like a free photographer's package, which was the Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom. Was getting that for a full year for free. So we're talking about a program that is, I think it's like $10.65 a month now. Okay. So that's a nice little bonus to get that for free. And if you meet even higher requirements, you can actually end up getting their whole creative suite for free for a year. I have never come close to that. You have to have a really huge portfolio and be like having like a ton of downloads to get to that. But in my opinion, making the one where you get one program. So like, for instance, I think one time I picked Illustrator, another time I did the photography program, like I said, Photoshop and Lightroom, because that's the most beneficial to me. And that's one thing that I don't have to worry about paying the subscription fee for a whole year. So it cuts back nicely on like some of my expenses. So that to me is like that. I think that that's the most fabulous thing. So when you're submitting to an agency like this, you have to consider those little perks, those little bonuses that they're offering you beyond just, what the images are selling for. So basically, I'm going to talk a little bit about the earnings because like listen, you don't sell photos for a ton of money with microstock, right? But one of the cool things about Adobe is I think that the least amount that I get is like the subscriptions 35 or 36 cents, okay? That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than a lot of other agencies give you. I mean, some other agencies, you'll see like the penny sales, the 1 cent sales, the 2 cent sales. That can be a little disheartening. Like those pop up and you go, I only made like how much on this image? That does not happen with Adobe Stock, at least not now. Like the least amount of money that I'll make on an image, 35, 36 cents. But, a lot of times they're popping up 98, 99 cents, a couple of dollars, depending on the license or the subscription plan that the person purchasing the license has. So I think in that sense, you're making more off of each image that gets downloaded than you are with other sites. So that's one of the really cool things. And that's why having a large portfolio over multiple agencies just kind of makes sense because even though you might only sell an image for a tiny bit here, it can go for a lot more on another site. And then when you get into like your Alamy and like those companies, you're not going to sell as much, but maybe when you sell that image, now it's selling for $10, $15. So really kind of depends. But with Adobe Stock, not only do I tend to make the most money with them, but I also have the highest number of downloads with them. Like I have a lot of images get downloaded like on a daily and a weekly basis through them, which is pretty cool. So all in all, like working with them, I think is very positive. I think that they do try to do a lot for their contributors. Um, a lot of people that complain in some of the forums that I'm in would disagree, but I don't see other agencies going out of their way for their contributors the way that Adobe does. And keep in mind that we're dealing with millions and millions of images, and we're dealing with a very, I don't even know. I could look it up and find out, but you're not dealing with like just a couple contributors here. Think about how many people are out there, how many photographers are out there submitting stock images, and now how many people are out there that aren't photographers that are submitting like AI images. I mean, anyone can do this now, right? So for them to be offering these incentives to all of these people that contribute, I think that that's a pretty cool thing. So all in all, highly recommend if you don't already submit to them, do it. If you don't submit, if you submit and you only do commercial work, think about doing some illustrative editorial. Some of my best sellers there are illustrative editorial images. And then, if it's not totally against everything you stand for, try the AI and see what happens. I've been surprised that I've actually sold like a good amount of AI images. Okay. Even in the last, like, I think I've been doing since, what was it? July. And I've been submitting again since July, but I didn't start doing the AI stuff right away. So maybe let's say since the beginning of August. So I haven't even been submitting AI for a full 2 months, most likely. And I've already seen that those images are selling. So get out there, try to contribute in as many different forms as you can, because it's just going to increase your portfolio and your exposure. Okay. And it's just going to bring people to your other images on top of it. Okay. As far as like exposure and whatnot. So it has been great talking to you again. Smash that like button. That helps me out. And if you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and subscribe, because you will be notified when I release new content. Yay! So enjoy your day. If you have some coffee, enjoy that coffee, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.